Mr. Amadou Diallo, thank you very much for giving us your time. I know you're a busy man. First off, could you give us a little background about yourself?
So thank you, Gemma. I come from Senegal, and I've been living now in the UAE since 2018. I'm the CEO of the Global Forwarding Division of DHL, covering the Middle East and Africa region.
It was announced today that around 500 million euros are going to be infused in the markets in the Middle East from the DHL group. Could you tell us more about its impact in the unit that you're handling?
In our unit, for instance, we have expanded our presence in Saudi Arabia from 3 locations to over 8 locations that we are operating in. We have doubled the size of our organization in Saudi Arabia, but same is happening in Egypt. Same is happening in Algeria, where we have opened a new operation. Same is happening in Morocco, where we have expanded our operation to cover 5 cities instead of only 2. And here in the UAE, we're operating across 19 locations for the global forwarding business. And we actually have a lot of investment in terms of being able to operate all the solutions that are related to new energy demand in Qatar, in Kuwait, in Saudi, but also here in Abu Dhabi, because you have a lot of infrastructure development that is taking place, including in Oman.
Yeah, and I understand one of these is the joint venture initiatives, such as the recent joint venture with Etihad Rail. How will this enhance the connectivity and logistic capabilities in the region?
If you live in the UAE, you will notice that every day you have 1,000 inhabitants that are moving in. So that means that since the beginning of the year, now we are in June, you have over 400,000, 500,000 new inhabitants that have moved into the UAE. That brings a lot of vehicles on the road, and we have already a lot of trucks on the road. And I think that the JV and then the Etihad Rail strategy is actually to be able to shift some of the trucks into trains, to shift some of the people moving with light vehicles into the train so that they can come to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. I'm sure you have read that they are putting that in place. And for us, it is to be able to build a multimodal solution so as to empty the roads a little bit so that people have some air to breathe, but also to bring up sustainable supply chain solutions connecting to Saudi so that we have less carbon emissions, because it's also one of the targets of both the UAE and our own organization. And lastly, it is around putting in place infrastructure and solutions that have been put in place in Europe or in America or in Asia, also live here in the UAE and in the Gulf countries, so that we offer all modes of transportation.
So the connectivity would become seamless, and I would imagine it's more affordable because it's by a land.
It is more affordable. It's always a question. Also,
Yes.
today you have a lot of trucks that are moving in the GCC countries that are over 40 years old. We should actually disappear from the road. And you have a lot of people who overload their trucks. We should not be allowed anymore. So you have a lot of regulation changes that are coming. And then when those come in place, then you will have new regulation that also inherit the fact that people have to use in flint trucks or younger trucks. They have to pay decent salaries to the truck driver.
Right.
And then you will see that moving the shipments into rail will be a viable alternative solutions, because a train can move the equivalent of 300 trucks without having 300 drivers waiting at the border, getting customs
But
clearance.
within just hours.
Yes.
Right. And sir, you mentioned something about the Ubuntu Academy, if I'm not mistaken. Could you tell us more about it? How can people from the region who are looking for jobs or from other places take advantage of this?
Actually, we have a program called Salam, which is around sustainable leadership mindset that we have deployed across the organization for all of our leaders. And it is all around making sure that we are not just good at doing our operation, but also good in terms of contributing to society. And one of the outcomes of that program has been to create a digital platform to be able to do vocational training for people to learn logistics.
Is it free?
It's free, yeah.
How do they get access to this?
So we have an initiative together with GoTrade. GoTrade is working with an organization that is called Global Business School Network. So, and the platform will be published officially outside. So we'll be working with UNIDO, United Nations Organization,
So it's
UNICEF.
worldwide.
So we are starting in the region, but we also already have demand in Asia.
Africa?
In Africa. So that's why we are taking now to work with international organizations like UNICEF, UNIDO, to be able to easily deploy it, because otherwise it will take us a lot of effort to deploy it. But the idea is really to create a platform where you have 50,000 people who get trained and they get a DHL certificate.
Okay. Sir, there's a lot of misconception about logistics and cargo, that it's manual labor, but now things have changed. There's AI, there are smart technologies that can be used to enhance work. What would you like to tell those people who would like to make a career in these fields?
Well, I can only tell them, I'm very old, but I already came to logistics with a master in business administration, but also a master in IT and computer science. So, and then when you come to the logistics world, you will see that you need a lot of information management process. So if you don't know how to manage information, then it will be very challenging for you to be able to be efficient in logistics. Secondly, you have to be able to follow business process organization to be efficient. So if you're not able to organize processes and to understand a little bit of operational research, it will be very difficult. And lastly, you have to understand the world, because you have to know what it takes to take something from Cebu to hub it through Hong Kong or Singapore, the customs regulations that you need to know, the rules to process it through Salara, and the regulation that you need to know to bring it to Dubai and bring it to Africa or some other places. So you really need to know the world, need the languages understanding, need the legislation understanding, need system and IT process understanding, and customs process understanding to be able to move things that looks like it moves so easy. So, and I think that from my own perspective, there's nothing as complex as doing logistics, but it's also why it is the oldest métier in the world.
But like you said, they could start from the bottom,
Yes.
like take the vocational training and then grow from there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So the thing is that, whether you studied or you didn't study, you have to be extremely humble when you start in logistics.
Yes.
And if you learn how to operate in a port, you'll be one of the few who know how to operate in a port. If you know how to move trucks and how much you can load into a truck, you'll be one of the few who know that. If you learn how to load a plane and how much tonnage you can load in a plane, you'll be one of the few to know that.
Right.
So it's not the ship that you're watching or the shipment that is being delivered by the DHL guy on his that makes it so easy. It is not easy. It's a very complex business, but if anybody works very hard, they can understand and participate in it.
With all your success, you're sort of an inspiration to other people from Africa and other developing countries, which are aspiring to become something in their fields of expertise. What would you like to tell them?
I would like to tell that, when I started working in logistics, we were 4.5 billion people. I'm still working. We are now over 8 billion people. So the youngsters, they should know that there are more people to be connected, more enterprises to be connected, and more connection to be built to make the world a better place. And if you want to make the world a better place, connect the people not only by smartphones and technology, but also make sure that they physically engage by exchanging solutions so that they can have shared culture.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. That's it for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.